Kodachrome was a very important film. It was a very important film in the history of photography for reasons beyond the Paul Simon characteristics of being bright colors of summertime. Kodachrome was the very first color film that was ever manufactured, ever designed. And it was a terrific breakthrough in terms of modern color photography coming into its own as a medium, because it could capture all the colors of the spectrum of white light on one frame. So it's an important film, and then when it was announced in June of 2009 that it was going to be discontinued, the world thought it was interesting and major because they'd always heard about this bright film, that it was a cult, but not everybody realized that it was really the end of a major and significant era in the development of color photography.
The real origins of the Kodachrome Project were when a friend of mine, a photographer named Tom Graves, who's working in San Francisco, contacted me and said he had a lot of film in his freezer that he wasn't going to be using, and asked if the students here would like some. So I said, sure, of course. And when the film came, most of it was color film, and I gave a fair amount of it to Susan Stang to bring into her color photography class.
And he gave me, when it arrived, all the Kodachrome. And this Kodachrome had been expired in 1981 and 1987. So it had actually been expired for over 20-some years at the time that we started shooting it, 30 almost. And I came into class one day, the last day of the semester, and I had film in my hands. And one of the students said, as I walked in the door, "Oh no, that's not what I think it is it?"
Students in the class noticed that some of it was Kodachrome in the orange and red distinctive boxes.
And some students kind of were peeking around like, is that Kodachrome? Is that for us? And she later told us that they got their hands on a big bunch of Kodachrome that a guy didn't want anymore, gave it to us, and just from there all the ideas started flooding out.
Josh, were you in Susan's photography class?
I was not in the color photography class, the class that came up with the idea to do the Kodachrome project.
I was excited to try something new. You know, I'd never shot it before, so it was just going to be a new experience. I didn't know it was going to be anything important or anything at the time.
Gosh, I never thought I was going to have a chance to shoot any Kodachrome. I'm not even sure how they recognized the box from that distance.
The initial idea, we knew Kodachrome was going to be discontinued later in that year. And, you know, suddenly we just started thinking, like, what if we were one of the last ones, you know, to shoot it, you know?
We got handed Kodachrome just as like, hey, this is going to be the last year that's developed.
In my perspective, it really kicked off as a whole project.
You know, suddenly we just started thinking, like, what if we were one of the last ones, you know, to shoot it, you know, last year, and then became, well, let's be, you know, last day, and then another student, what if we were the last ones through the processor?
And everyone was like, yeah, like, we should do that. And then we'd determine that, you know, it'd be more likely that they would hold all of our film if we kind of went in as like an entity as Webster University, you know, photography department, and as a whole, like, see if he would hold it, you know. And so Susan ran out of class immediately that day.
It was the last day of the semester. They were leaving for the summer, and I asked them if they minded if I left them alone in the classroom for about half an hour to see if I could make some calls and find out if that could happen. I was lucky enough to reach Grant Steinley, the son of Dwayne Steinley, who had founded Dwayne's photo. And Grant said, well, I haven't figured out the last day yet. I haven't figured out the last batches, but how about if right at this point we say it's the last day? I said, great. I ran to the dean to see if she would fund the processing, because I knew this was bigger than just my class.
We were able to distribute a number of roles to people that showed interest in the project and came to the meetings and wanted to be part of the Kodachrome Project. And
let anyone in the program, including faculty and staff, participate.
So when people really started getting excited, like, oh, I can get my hands on this, it's at Webster, it's with the photo club here, and yeah, we really got some people excited about it.
Because it was going to be an opportunity to be part of photographic history.
We had Webster rented a large bus that you kind of like those, it was like a large church bus almost. It kind of looked like, I don't know what you call them exactly. So it was myself and Ashley Armbruster, David Nash, Scott Lane, Lisa Lauber, and then Bill Barrett and Susan Stang. And it was
pretty rewarding knowing that they selected us because we'd played a pretty big role in the Kodachrome project, so that in itself was rewarding before we had even left, to be selected as one of the students that they wanted to go down and be a part of history.
The long drive to Kansas was scenic, to say the least, and when we got there, the town, just a really small town, and Dwayne's is basically kind of just a small warehouse on the outside of this town. And
we got there pretty early in the morning. I want to say it was like 8:30 or 9, which not a lot of people were there. So we got to talk to Dwayne and all the people that worked there before anyone else really arrived.
People were working at their usual jobs. Everybody was having a good time. Paul Simon's Kodachrome was playing in a loop. It was the only thing on the speakers all day long. But it was fun. It was fun. We didn't get tired of it. To say it was a hectic day, there were probably a dozen, maybe 20 people in the lobby and the parking lot. Now, the lobby of this place is no bigger than my office.
It was a media frenzy and just a little crazy there. It was just packed of just people with video cameras and turning it in film, and it was a sight to see for sure.
You see the UPS trucks pulling in, dropping off loads and loads of film. Everybody trying to get their last batches processed before the deadline.
Being at the actual lab was a bunch of fun. Dwayne was very nice, gave us a tour of his lab, showed us how everything worked.
And then with the last roll, Dwayne had the privilege of running the last roll through, and it was going to be his, and he asked us to be on it.
And yeah, we were all really excited, and Dwayne's photo took a picture of all of us on his camera, which was the very last roll of film, and I was like, I'm on history right there. I'm on some photographic history right there, which I think still, when I think about it, a little surreal feeling, just being able to know that
You're on the very last roll.
Yeah.
But even without that, the idea was to be part of history, to know that you had this box of slides that had been processed in the last batches.